We arrived in like the Bonjour tout le monde. Hi everybody. So yesterday was an important day for the Alliance. It was a day where we reinforced our unity. Also, my dear friend and colleague Dmytro Kuleba, Minister of Foreign Affairs for Ukraine, was with us. We all reiterated our support to Ukraine. It is important that we continue to support Ukraine, but also that we support Ukraine even after its victory. It is important that states offer long-term security engagement and guarantees to Ukraine, because even after its victory, it will still be the neighbor of a very aggressive country. And that was part of my declarations yesterday and part of my different speeches, and that's what Canada is bringing to the table. And I look forward to having good discussions with our Indo-Pacific friends and partners today, as Canada is extremely interested in the Indo-Pacific region. Donc, hier, c'était une journée importante pour renforcer l'Alliance. C'était également une journée importante parce que nous avons rencontré mon collègue et ami Dmytro Kuleba, qui est le ministre des Affaires étrangères de l'Ukraine. Nous avons réitéré notre appui à l'Ukraine, bien entendu présentement, mais aussi après sa victoire. Et une partie de la discussion, et certainement ce que le Canada apporte à la table, c'est cette conversation sur l'importance des engagements et des garanties de sécurité à long terme pour l'Ukraine. Parce que même après sa victoire, l'Ukraine va toujours être à côté d'un pays très agressif, donc voisin toujours d'un pays très agressif. Et donc, c'est important qu'on puisse avoir cette conversation-là, et c'est ce que j'ai réitéré hier. Et puis aujourd'hui, nous allons avoir des conversations avec nos collègues de la région de l'Indo-Pacifique, et c'est certainement une région qui intéresse énormément le Canada. Merci.
We'll also discuss the defense investment pledge today. Is Canada in favor of raising the level above 2%?
So Canada has recently invested even more funding when it comes to its military. We've invested $50 billion more. We've just bought 88 F-35s. We're undergoing a defense policy review, and we will be making more investments.
China is becoming more aggressive. How should NATO respond?
So when it comes to China, we're glad that the new strategic concept reiterates the importance of addressing Indo-Pacific issues. We have presented a very strong Indo-Pacific and China policy back in November. Canada believes that China is an increasingly disruptive global power, and we will continue to address the challenges of the Indo-Pacific here at NATO, but also at home, and that's why also we increase funding for security in the Indo-Pacific. Thank you. Yes.
Good morning. Is it here? Okay. Yeah. Just to say that yesterday it was a historical day for NATO. North Macedonia has been enjoying for 3 years the privilege of being the youngest member of NATO. And I was happy yesterday to hand over this title to our new ally, Finland, by welcoming them to the alliance. Hopefully that they will move on and transfer it to Sweden soon. And this is a real demonstration that the open door policy of NATO is alive, and that the Bucharest conclusions are alive, and this will encourage for sure the aspirant countries who share our values to join our families in the future. NATO today is united and stronger than ever, and will support Ukraine for as long as it takes. North Macedonia, by being a member of NATO, has transformed its role in the region from a security consumer into a security provider, by providing military support to Ukraine, by hosting Serbia-Kosovo dialogue in Ohrid, by chairing the OSCE and invoking all the mechanisms to avoid impunity in Ukraine, and we will continue to support Ukraine as North Macedonia as well for as long as it takes. Thank you so much.
What's your position on the defense investment pledge? Are you in favor of raising it above 2%?
North Macedonia will reach this goal up to 2024 of 2%, and certainly we are in favor of discussing stepping up this preparedness of NATO for the upcoming challenges. Thank you.
There's a new close friendship between Russia and China. What does that mean for NATO?
We are going to discuss this issue today as well. It is a challenge that for which NATO should be prepared. Thank you so much.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno, buongiorno. Andiamo all'uscita.
On the way out.
Ja?
Und was machen die, also in diesen eigentlichen Besprechungen dürfen die doch bestimmt nicht alle dabei sein, oder?
Von der Tür. Aber
Wegen Anschlusstermin.
tatsächlich macht
Echt?
immer so ein italienischer Sicherheitsbeamter an der Wand so hochgestellt, als Berlusconi vorbeikam.
Good morning. Yesterday was a historic day for Finland. The first meeting, NATO meeting, at which Finland participated as the fully fledged ally member, and hope Sweden will join us soon. So Ukraine is at the very center of the ministerial meeting, and especially, and I'm glad that yesterday we held a session in the NATO-Ukraine Commission format, the first in 2017. During today's a session together with Finland and Sweden, we will discuss sustainable long-term support to Ukraine. This includes financial commitment within the comprehensive assistance package, and Croatia will provide half a million euros to this comprehensive assistance package, and Croatia also provides humanitarian aid, gives shelter to thousands of Ukrainian refugees, and Croatia, of course, will help to Ukraine with our expertise from the homeland war, including through the project of psychological assistance to veterans and programs of demining. We will also discuss key decisions of the forthcoming summit in Vilnius, especially ones related to Ukraine, accession of invitees, the future investments, as well as deepening cooperation with partners that share our values. In the last session, we will look into expanding cooperation with our with partners in the Pacific region. The EU High Representative Josep Borrell will join us as well. Croatia is also contributing to NATO activities and in this region, and Croatia, we have the very important role to NATO, contact embassy in Canberra together with Netherlands. So, thank you very much.
What do you think about the close friendship between China and Russia?
I would prefer to see the high-profile person having that position, also to give a certain higher leverage to NATO. I think Stoltenberg also his predecessor Rasmussen have shown that this is something we need to invest. So I hope to see a head of state, prime minister level candidates to be considered.
Should the person come from the eastern part of the alliance?
He or she has to have a reason which would be based on also these statements Eastern flank countries have raised, concerns on Russia and concerns on that appeasement of Russia will only encourage the beast.
There's a new close friendship between Russia and China. How should the NATO respond?
Giving a clear signal that if China is going anyhow to send military equipment to Russia, that it's going to get a strong and determined response back, and it has a clear price.
Minister, you mentioned air defense. What concrete decisions do you expect from the sector?
Well, fulfillment by clear force generation plan what was not achieved in Madrid, that we are going to have from this year a solid and sustainable rotation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moin, Frau Ministerin.
Schönen guten Morgen. Ich warte noch, bis die Delegation hinter mir durchgeht. Der NATO-Gipfel in Vilnius ist schon in einigen Monaten und dieser muss und wird gut vorbereitet sein. Dafür ist wichtig, dass wir erstens alles in die Wege leiten, dass wir dann auch Schweden in der NATO begrüßen können und zweitens, dass wir einen wirklichen umfassenden Schutzschirm für unsere Allianz aufbauen. Die NATO ist unser Schutzschirm für unsere Sicherheit und dafür braucht es eine faire Lastenverteilung. Lastenverteilung ist ein sperriger Begriff, aber bedeutet eigentlich ganz simpel, dass unsere militärischen Fähigkeiten miteinander auch harmonieren müssen. Dass Schiffe nicht nur in See stechen können, dass Soldaten nicht nur gut ausgestattet sind, sondern dass die unterschiedlichen Fähigkeiten, die NATO-Partner haben, auch miteinander kompatibel sind. Denn wir haben mit Blick auf den russischen Angriffskrieg auf die Ukraine auch erlebt, dass wir zwar eine gemeinsame Verteidigungsallianz, ein gemeinsames Verteidigungsbündnis sind, dass unsere militärischen Fähigkeiten aber eben nicht im besten Sinne bisher aufeinander abgestimmt sind. Und das wollen und das werden wir gemeinsam ändern, damit die Munition miteinander harmonieren kann, damit die neuen Beschaffungen, die anstehen, auch miteinander dann ihre Fähigkeiten teilen können. Denn wir erleben zugleich, dass durch den russischen Angriffskrieg unsere gemeinsame Wehrhaftigkeit gestärkt werden muss. Das ist kein einfacher Schritt, weil er natürlich bedeutet, dass es in jedem Haushalt höhere Militärausgaben geben wird, damit wir für unser aller Sicherheit in dieser Allianz sorgen können. Einer für alle, weil unsere Bündnispartner insbesondere an der Außengrenze des gemeinsamen Verteidigungsbündnisses eben noch mal besondere Sorgen und Ängste haben und auch wir für ihre Sicherheit mit zuständig sind. Daher sind bei den anstehenden Fähigkeitslückenschließungen eben weitere finanzielle Mittel notwendig und diese müssen effizient eingesetzt sein. Daher ist es für mich wichtig, dass wir bei dieser anstehenden Debatte, die wir heute und auf dem Weg nach Vilnius führen, eben nicht nur über die reinen Zahlen bei unseren militärischen Fähigkeiten sprechen, sondern darüber auch sprechen, was das konkret bedeutet. Denn gerade die Bemessung am Bruttoinlandsprodukt bedeutet ja, dass es in wirtschaftlich schwierigen Zeiten, wo der eigene Haushalt und die eigene Wirtschaftsfähigkeit eher geringer ist, dass man dann NATO-Ziele erreicht, obwohl man militärisch noch gar nichts beschafft hat. Deswegen ist es so entscheidend, dass wir nicht nur über reine Prozentzahlen sprechen, sondern gerade auch die Fähigkeitsziele. Und das wollen wir als Allianz gemeinsam, das wollen wir aber auch mit weiteren Partnern in der Welt. Im Lichte des russischen Angriffskriegs haben wir gesehen, wie wichtig es ist, dass Partner auf der ganzen Welt, die für eine regelbasierte internationale Ordnung einstehen, deutlich machen, sie stehen zu der Charta der Vereinten Nationen. Und daher ist gerade auch die Sicherheit von anderen für uns ein zentrales Anliegen. In dem Sinne freue ich mich, dass unsere Indo-Pazifik-Partner heute hier in Brüssel zu Gast sind. Ich habe mich gestern schon mit der Neuseeländerin getroffen, um gemeinsam darüber zu sprechen, was für die Sicherheit in ihrer Region im Indo-Pazifik entscheidend ist. Ein großes Thema ist dabei natürlich auch die Rolle von China. China hat eigentlich eine besondere Verantwortung als Mitglied des Sicherheitsrates, auch eine besondere Verantwortung, weil sie 2013 noch der Ukraine in einem Vertrag zugesagt haben, dass sie auch für ihre Sicherheit einstehen. Daher ist das Zurückziehen auf eine in Anführungszeichen sogenannte Neutralität in diesem Falle eigentlich nicht dem, was die Rolle von China angemessen wäre. Wir haben als europäische Partner bereits deutlich gemacht, dass wir daher auch mit Blick auf China zu einem De-Risking kommen müssen. Das bedeutet keine Entkopplung, aber dass wir mit Blick auf unsere Sicherheit, mit Blick auf unsere Abhängigkeiten, einseitige Abhängigkeiten verringern müssen, um so auch im erweiterten Raum für uns, für unsere gemeinsame Sicherheit mit Partnern auf der ganzen Welt zu sorgen.
Frau Ministerin, der Generalsekretär hat jüngst gesagt, dass er keine weitere Vertragsverlängerung anstrebt. Aus Ihrer Sicht, was für eine Person würde für die Nachfolge in Frage kommen? Und können Sie uns schon ein, zwei Namen nennen, die aus Ihrer Sicht gute Namen wären?
Gute Namen gibt es viele, das ist das Gute in Europa, aber wir haben hier in der NATO ja das Prinzip, dass wir uns gemeinsam im Konsens auf eine Person verständigen und deswegen nennt man keine Namen in der Öffentlichkeit, deswegen spekuliert man nicht. Wir sind in besonderen Zeiten, der Generalsekretär hat in diesen so herausfordernden Zeiten mit Ruhe und mit Stärke einen hervorragenden Job gemacht und das wird auch wichtig sein für die weitere Zusammenarbeit in der Zukunft.
Russland und China, der estnische Außenminister hat gerade eben anstatt 2%, 2,5% Ziel gefordert. Wie realistisch ist denn sowas für Deutschland?
Wir wissen, woher wir kommen, gerade in Deutschland. Wir haben mit Blick auf diesen russischen Angriffskrieg als Bundesregierung, insbesondere der Bundeskanzler, deutlich gemacht, dass das für uns eine Zeitenwende ist. Ich habe vor gut einem Jahr gesagt, wahrscheinlich nehmen viele, ich auch, das Wort Wehrhaftigkeit zum ersten Mal aktiv selber in den Mund. Und deswegen haben wir für uns auch reflektiert, was das für uns bedeutet, haben das 100 Milliarden Euro Programm auf den Weg gebracht, wissen, dass wir weitere Fähigkeiten brauchen. Und wie gesagt, mir ist wichtig, dass es hier nicht rein um Zahlen geht, weil man rechnet schnell dann was an, damit man auf 2% oder über 2% kommt. Das bringt für die Sicherheit aber überhaupt gar nichts, wenn diese Zahlenberechnungen dann de facto nicht bedeuten, dass es mehr militärische Fähigkeiten gibt. Wir wissen für insbesondere bei der Luftverteidigung, wie wichtig es ist, dass wir dafür die Lücken schließen. Deswegen brauchen wir ein ambitioniertes Ziel für unsere Wehrhaftigkeit, aber eins, das keine Luftbuchungen sind, sondern wirklich materiell dann auch zu mehr Fähigkeiten führen, die, wie gesagt, zwischen allen NATO-Partnern auch kompatibel sind. Und ich glaube, das wird fast die herausforderndste Aufgabe, dass am Ende dann nicht eigene nationale Industrieinteressen diese NATO-Fähigkeitsziele konterkarieren, weil dann eher jeder an sein eigenes System denkt und nicht daran denkt, wie diese Systeme miteinander funktionieren können. Vielen Dank. Jetzt ist, glaube ich, der Nächste dran.
Good morning.
Good morning. I would like to just mention that yesterday was a very successful day and we are preparing everything for Vilnius to be a successful NATO summit. Today we will discuss in the Pacific, we will discuss southern flank of NATO, so I expect that it will be a similar success.
On the 2%,
yes.
What's your position on it? Your Estonian colleague just mentioned it should be 2.5%. Is that too high, too low?
I think we need to keep in mind the trend that the expenditure on defense needs to rise since Putin's imperialism endangers us. So my government pledges to have a 2% of GDP spending next year, 2024. I'm sure that we will be able to do so. I know that Czechia was not leading expenditure in defense otherwise, but we want to repair this rest and definitely we are working on that.
Minister, from your point of view, who could become next Secretary General of NATO? What kind of person?
Oh, that's very interesting and open question. I don't know. There's a lot of rumors in corridors, but the competition has not started yet.
China is becoming more aggressive. How should the NATO respond to it?
We need to understand that with the power rise of China, there is a lot of global threats. Speaking about AI, future technologies, dependence on trade, and we need to be very well aware of that. And would the situation get worse, we need to be ready to do political steps which will be independent from our side, from our point of view. So we need to be very well aware of that and be ready for that. And that will be the discussion we will have today, definitely about, and that's the position of Czechia, that's the position of our Indo-Pacific strategy we have. And I'm glad that, for example, that we have a Minister of Foreign Affairs of Japan today here, so we can discuss with democracies in the Pacific region this matter too. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Thank you.
Hello, good morning everyone. This is the first day for Finland, full day as a member of NATO, and of course the topics today are utmost interest in the preparing for the Vilnius summit. Also discussion about defense investments. Finland fulfills the 2% of the GDP already. And then of course the Indo-Pacific topic will be here today, and I think it's very important to look our dependencies on China at the moment when there is enhanced cooperation between China and Russia. I think we have to maintain unity on those issues.
And your Estonian colleague just mentioned it should be 2.5% instead of 3%. The new goal for NATO allies. Do you agree with that?
Well, currently we fulfill the 2% and also for the coming years, and it's important now to look at the discussion. I think it's important that everybody is coming to the 2% level at least.
Minister, who could become the next Secretary General of NATO?
Well, that's a good question, but I think now as a very new member we listen to the debate and discussion today. Well, it's a new era. The Finns were really celebrating yesterday, so the full evening I received messages from people who opened their champagne bottles, and it feels like a long waiting in the circumstances when you have a war in Europe. Even if you know that this was the most rapid process, and of course we really want Sweden to join us as soon as possible, hopefully before Vilnius.
You just mentioned the friendship between Russia and China. How should the NATO respond to it?
Well, of course, we followed very closely President Xi's visit to Moscow, and we are, of course, afraid that China will offer additional help for Russia's aggression against Ukraine. And I think it's very important that we have a common response to that. It will be today very important to listen also our Indo-Pacific friends and how they analyze the situation, what are their proposals. I think this NATO Indo-Pacific cooperation is important. Sorry?
What can you say about Ukraine?
Well, I think that it's very important that Ukraine has the transatlantic perspective, but of course we are also a member of European Union, and as you know we have been enhancing the cooperation between European Union and Ukraine, and I think we can on that level take many concrete steps, and at the moment it's of course important how do we practically support Ukraine. Finland has been delivering 14 military packages already to Ukraine, including heavy weapons, and I think this spring is very crucial. So that's the thing that we can do exactly now.
Do you think that Finland's Prime Minister could be a good Secretary General?
Well, no comments on that. We have many good candidates. Thank you. Thanks.
With several tornadoes.
Hello. Yes, as Sweden's foreign minister, it's a real pleasure to be here today at the NATO meeting here of foreign ministers in Brussels. We are, of course, now continuing our work to see to it that we, as swiftly as possible, can be ratified by the two outstanding countries, namely Turkey and Hungary. We have here today experienced a lot of support from our incoming colleagues in the NATO family. A lot of countries that have, during the last 24 hours, said that they are hoping to see a swift ratification of Sweden's accession. Among them, of course, the President of the United States, who yesterday, or tonight, I should say yesterday evening, said that he wanted to see Turkey and Hungary ratify us as soon as possible. Yes, I have had bilateral meetings with Turkey, and I'm looking forward to have one pull aside with my Hungarian colleague today. We have the same message as ever. We believe that we have done everything that we were supposed to do within the memorandum that was signed during the summit in Madrid last year. We also believe that it is time for the Turkish Parliament to start the ratification process. We are now ready with everything within the memorandum. It's only one more piece, and that is the legislation that will enter into force on the 1st of June, which will prohibit people from using Swedish territory for terrorist activities and also using our territory to finance terrorist activities. Something which the Turkish Foreign Minister yesterday told me was very important for Turkey, this legislative piece. So yes, we believe that we are doing what we committed ourselves to do. Very good.
There's a new friendship between Russia and China. What does that mean for Western countries?
Well, we need to be very, very, I think, careful about this development, and it is for this reason that Sweden, as the presidency of the European Union, is now calling an Indo-Pacific ministerial meeting, a meeting between ministers of foreign affairs of the European Union and ministers from the Indo-Pacific region in Stockholm on the 13th of May. And during this meeting, I'm sure that China will be one of the topics that we will be able to deliberate about and find common ground. It is important for the European Union to understand the tensions that are now building up in the Indo-Pacific, but also the possibilities for cooperation between the European Union and the countries of the Indo-Pacific. Very good. Thank you.
Morning.
Der Kellner heute im Restaurant in Brüssel hat so ein Ding jetzt im Rohr.
Ja, okay.
Tafel 3 abräumen, sauber machen.
Ja, aber es war gerade kam so ein Typ mit einer Sonnenbrille. Mensch mit Sonnenbrille sprachen dann. Bei all die.
Ja.
morning, Minister. You care to share any thoughts with us today?
New Zealand's pleased to be here, certainly to reflect our interests as some significant geopolitical challenges in this region impact on the Pacific region.
And what are your thoughts on China's growing relationship with Russia? How is that how is that perceived in New Zealand?
We certainly, from a New Zealand perspective, have encouraged China to use its influence on Russia to see a cessation of war, a withdrawal of troops, and a process of meaningful negotiation between Russia and Ukraine commence.
How dangerous is China for the region?
Right now, the key focus is the war in Russia and Ukraine. And New Zealand's perspective is that China should use its influence on Russia to see a cessation of war, a withdrawal of troops, a return to internationally agreed boundaries in order for meaningful peaceful negotiations to commence between Russia and Ukraine. Thank you.
Ach so. Ja, deswegen wunderte mich, dass sie nicht sofort. Andererseits.
Die kommen nicht alle frei, nicht unbedingt. Das von die Amtschreien.
Der Kollege macht das dann.
Good morning, Minister. Do you have a moment?
Morning.
Do you have a moment?
I'm too late, I'm sorry.
But you never stop and talk to us anymore.
I usually do.
Ja, gut, klar.
it was just
Okay, dear friends, if you all are able to find your seats, I think we can start. So, welcome and good morning. Good morning to all of you, and welcome to this meeting of the North Atlantic Council. Russia's war against Ukraine grinds on. President Putin is not preparing for peace, he is preparing for more war. As we discussed yesterday with Minister Kuleba, NATO allies are united in our commitment to sustain and step up our support. We must give Ukraine what it needs on the battlefield to prevail as a sovereign and independent nation. NATO will also continue to support other partners that face pressure from Russia, including Moldova, Georgia, and Bosnia and Herzegovina. We will discuss how to counter other threats and challenges facing our lines, including those emanating from the south, and how to deal with the growing strategic competition, including China's increasing alignment with Russia. Finally, we will discuss defense spending. In a contested and dangerous world, we cannot take our security for granted, so we must invest more in our defense. At the Vilnius Summit, I expect allies to agree an ambitious new defense investment pledge with 2% of GDP as a minimum to be invested in defense. I thank the media for joining us at the top of the meeting, and we continue in just a moment. Thank you so much.